All right. So, welcome doing this YouTube thing yet again. I'm Mr. Malice, and this is a reaction video. Maybe there's an intro, maybe there's not. We'll see what happens. So, got a couple of people in the comments asking me to react to here. Last Frontier Medium for a second time around. And more specifically, the video entitled My 1800 Years in Hell. Now, this is an hour long. If I react to this whole thing, guys, this is going to be a 2-hour long video, and we're just not going to do that. But I am going to react to it. Like, I have not watched it yet. This is first run through. Right now, just to keep my ass awake, you know, we gotta drink some Monster, right? Monster is the only drink for a real Satanist. That's sarcasm. And if you're wondering why I say that, there was an old video that circled around YouTube that some woman pointed out that the logo for Monster is apparently 666 in Hebrew. You know, instead of just being claws going down the can, it's 666. So, you know, bottoms up, fuckers. All right. Here we go. Oof. I'm already afraid. I'm already afraid. I'm scared. We haven't even started fucking watching the thing yet.
And that's the fight I deal with every day of my life. Fighting with that reality of knowing that you cannot accept one without the other. Otherwise, it's pure denial. Crazy people wouldn't recognize that. I do, because I'm not crazy.
We shall see. Here we go. What you are about to view is extremely graphic and may be disturbing to sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. All right, cool. The epic intro.
I had an epiphany today in a moment of meditating. And in this epiphany, what I realized was that if I don't tell this story, it would be in vain. Mostly because the way it happened was my choice. My choice in a heavy burden to do something absolutely insane. This testimony that you're about to hear is something that may be considered difficult to stomach, will probably even be hard to believe. I want to tell my story because I went into hell for that exact reason. Not to make a video about it, but to know whether or not it was real. I've meditated on this for quite some time, and it's been a little over a year since it happened. A lot of people think that you have to die to go to hell, but this is not true. You actually can go to hell through different dimensions, even in sleep state. You can go to hell in different dimensions even when you're physically awake. The problem is that even though religion glorifies the idea of hell and inflicting people with fear to bring them back into their church every Sunday or every week, the biggest tragedy that I've come to understand and face in my day-to-day life is that when you share your experience of that exact place, people think you're crazy. And that's exactly the biggest reason why I had held from talking about it out loud in an official video like this. I thought for a while maybe I should just wait and write a book about it. But the truth is, if I do, or when I do, it will be not of my testimony, but of what to expect of hell. But I'm not ready for that yet. For writing something like that would be extremely heavy on the heart, on my mind, and on my soul, and I know that. Forgive me.
But I'm muted. Like, but talking about it is A-okay. No problem at all. At all. Talking about it, right? So I'm waiting to get into the meat and potatoes here, folks. You know, it looks like this one's going to be kind of drawn out. First and foremost, you know, astral projection is definitely a thing. You know, however, like transporting yourself to another dimension, and then at the same time, we kind of have to make up our minds, don't we? Like, so there's spiritual travel, there's dimensional travel. Now, one could say potentially that hell is another dimension, but then if hell is another dimension, then the entire concept of what she's talking about is completely destroyed, because then it's not a place of punishment used that you know the church would use, and rather a place that you're probably never ever going to see, right? Dead or alive. Or it's, you know, damnation, as the church says it is, and in which case, you know, access to it is dictated on, you know, the current state of, I guess, your spirit, if we go by like the Christian kind of idea concept here, where we would be looking at if you're good, you go to heaven. If you're bad, you go to hell. And in which case, astral projection wouldn't bring you there. So, not making much sense, but I'm waiting for the meat and potatoes here. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be.
Me if I don't look at the camera that often, and the fact that I have no makeup on.
Well, first and foremost, the no makeup on, it's an improvement. It's an improvement because, well, okay, I mean, kind of, I don't know. I mean, I'm throwing you a bone there because the last one, holy shit. Like, I think the traditional Japanese, kind of the females in Japan that we're put on, kind of, I don't know the name. Forgive me for, you know, everybody out there, forgive me for not knowing the name of this. If you know the name of it, drop it down in the comments. I'm not going to look it up right now. But, you know, the traditional makeup that Japanese women wear when they do the traditional dressing and things like that, I think they have less makeup on than she did in the last video. And as for, like, not looking at the camera, well, you know, that's what happens when you lie, right? You got to think about it first, right? You got to run the shit through your head and kind of be like, right? Psychology. All right, let's go.
Or that I don't seem very presentable. This decision came right out of the blue. This decision came right after meditating, and I did not plan this, and I've decided to just jump right in and just do it. Because I know deep down that it has to come out eventually. And if I think about it too much, if I prepare too much, I may back out. Because the experience is so difficult to talk about. It's so overwhelming. And for me, my purpose to share my story is in hopes that it saves a soul, even one, from a horrible fate. Don't do what I did.
So it's almost like there's still that same kind of vibe that you would get from, you know, Christians or Catholics. They feel like that they need to save souls, right? Like, I want to save your soul from hell. Like, yeah, well, you know, I mean, it's your hell. You go burn in it, right? You know, I think I can tell by looking. I mean, except I mean that freeze frame though. I mean, she looks like she just, you know, did a whole 8-ball at a head. But you know, it feels like she's being genuine in the sense like of how she's talking, but I still think she's full of shit. But we're gonna break it down. Like, I mean, I need to see the context and everything like that, and what the hell it is she's talking about in order to actually have, you know, something to say here. So
Don't be as curious as I was. I was told by my guides that there was no hell. As crazy as that is, a lot of angels never talked to me about hell, and my spirit guides, even Jesus, Yehoshua, avoided the concept or the talk of hell at all whatsoever. Even when I would bring it up, he avoided it all the time. And at some points, he would even say that hell was in the mind, but not so much a place. I knew deep down he wasn't being honest with me. And that's what brought me to decide to jump in.
oh, she just called Jesus a liar. Yeah, that's kind of ballsy. That's kind of ballsy. I'm joking, by the way. Like, I mean, it's not fucking ballsy. But all right. So my take on the whole thing, right? So you guys know where I stand with all of this, right? So where I stand with the whole afterlife concept, heaven and hell, shit like that. Heaven, hell, it's just a bullshit scheme. The human, in my opinion, the human brain cannot fathom that there's nothing after this. I'm not saying that there isn't anything after this. I believe in reincarnation. That's my basis. I believe, you know, you go on hold and you come back when you come back. You know, it's how it is, right? The human spirit's like a battery, right? It's not the epitome of who you are, which is why most people, like for the most part, you don't remember past lives and shit like that, because memory is stored in the brain. The brain is organic. You die, it decays, and the memories go with it. You know, who you were dies with your body. You know, I look at the spirit as, you know, not necessarily something spiritual, but I guess metaphysical would be kind of like the term, I suppose. You know, I could be talking to my ass too, but you know, whatever. I look at it like a battery, right? The spirit's kind of like what, you know, keeps you moving, right? And unlike batteries in real life where the battery dies and the toy sticks around, right? Us as a toy, you know, the toy just dies, it breaks down, you know, but the battery's still there. Which is why I also don't believe that you come back. You can't come back as a fucking dog or a goddamn fly or, you know, mosquito or some shit like that. Because as such with batteries, you know, the spirit or the soul of a living creature is designed to, you know, power that instinct, right? That body shape and form. So, you know, the idea is like you can come back as any type of human, you know, through, you know, in the whatever, you know, it doesn't matter race, sex, color, religion, whatever, you know, sexual orientation, that doesn't matter. You can just come back as, you know, another human being. It's the whole concept of saying that, okay, so you have a robot which uses D-size batteries and you have, I don't know, a little Chihuahua robot that uses a AA. You can't take the AA and put it inside of the robot because it's just not going to work. It's not going to power it, you know, and even if you did find a way to kind of jerry rig, you know, a way to get it to work, you know, it's going to power it for a significant limited, you know, time. And as is such with, the little Chihuahua robot dog, is that you can't take that D battery and put it in there because it just doesn't fit. And so that's my idea of the spirit, right? So the spirit is, there to kind of, power the whole endeavor, right? And then the body breaks down, dies, and, the spirit kind of hits a limbo state and then comes back eventually at some point. We know that matter cannot be removed from, scientifically speaking, we know that matter cannot be removed. You can burn something, you can melt it down, it changes form, but it doesn't die. And we also know that energy, for example, like electricity, things like it doesn't necessarily dissipate. Again, it just changes form or redirects, goes someplace else. So if you think about that, right? So the human brain operates off of, just electricity. It's just little things firing off on synapses and shit, which is everything's going on in the brain and how we perceive the world around us. The brain will die, but the energy that, had the brain going is still there, right? It's not the energy, it's not the lack of energy going to the brain. Lack of energy to the brain means you just kind of die off. Certain areas of the brain can die, which can put you into a vegetative state, things like that. But the energy is still there. Just because of a section of the brain's not working doesn't mean the energy needed to run that sector isn't there. It's there. It's just not that part of the brain isn't responding, right? The organics fail, not the energy, right? The organics will fail. The energy doesn't. So I personally don't believe in a heaven and a hell per se, that like if you're good you go here and if you're bad you go there. So go to church and put on your best clothes and right, make sure your wife covers up her black eye. So that type of shit. Because honestly, in my opinion, going to church every Sunday was just it's just a goddamn fashion show. Who had better clothes? Oh, look at keep the poor people in the back. So I don't know. And it's just also a money grab for the church too, right? It's like, you ever notice, like, I don't know if any of you have ever gone to church, you ever notice, like, when you go to church and they pass the plate around where you put money into it, if you don't put money into it, like, even if you put change into it, right, people look at you fucking weird, like, probably buying too many drugs, too much alcohol, he's an alcoholic. That's why he can't give to the church. Okay, cool. And I've never felt more judged than being in a place that was supposed to be judgment free, right? Anyway, so I don't buy the heaven and hell concept. This whole thing that one of her spirit guides is Jesus. I mean, fuck's sake, man. Like this is rolling into like that Amazon Prime TV show New Gods or whatever it is, right? That all gods exist because people believe in them. Like this is like a semi-new kind of thing that people are kind of rolling with, that the power that gods have are directly correlated with the power that we give them. And so I'm going to be completely honest here. If a god depends on us believing in them to have power, right? What the fuck is the point of being a god? If a god or gods created all of this and created of all of us, where the fuck did their power come from before we goddamn existed? We haven't been here fucking forever, people. Where the fuck did that power come from? Right? Where did the power of creation come from? I mean, it's a good way to kind of explain why, like, certain gods don't interact with us the way they do in Hollywood. But here's the thing. Hollywood is fucking Hollywood. You don't have to explain Hollywood. You don't have to explain why fucking Thor or goddamn Ares isn't standing in front of you because you want to go to war with your fucking neighbor. Okay? The answer's pretty simple. We're a bunch of fucking morons and they don't give a shit. Now, which gods are real and which ones aren't? Well, I guess that depends on you and your pantheon, right? You know, cuz that just falls into your camp. Whatever you believe to be real is whatever you believe to be real. You know, now is it going to be like drawing a lottery ticket when you're dead and gone and be like, hey, it was actually letter C. So who the fuck knows, right? Who the fuck knows? But I do not buy that new bullshit where, well, because we believe in them, that's why they have their power. Well, then they're not fucking gods. It's that simple. It's that simple. If a god depends on its creation to give it power, it is not a god. Now, you could go down the whole line and sit there and say, well, because they created us, all of their power went into us. And so without us, they no longer have any power. Yeah, no, that's bullshit. I mean, it's just... The point of the matter is trying to fathom or understand something that we cannot examine is impossible. I'm not saying that it's not real. Of course I'm not. I mean, I believe in magic. I believe, in, our power and our ability as, magical creatures to an extent. But at the same time, trying to explain away why things don't happen the way that we want them to make ourselves feel better about, what's happening or what isn't happening. Like, a lot of people, they watch The Craft for the first time, the original one, not the new one. The new one's shit. The original one's fucking badass. They watch, The Craft for the first time and like, dude, I want to change my hair color and do light as a feather, stiff as a board. And then, like, when the shit doesn't work, then they have to kind of, in their mind, explain to themselves or find a way that makes sense to sit there and say, oh, well, this is why it doesn't work, because there's not enough people in the world that believe in it. I mean, come on. The power that you have comes from you, comes from inside of you. I fully believe that there are people that are capable of directing their energy through years of practice and experience and are able to draw from the energy of everything around them, because at the end of the day, we're all connected. I believe that there is a natural energy that flows through everybody that connects all of us together. And that energy, when you're able to focus and use your energy first, you can then begin to slowly draw from the energy outside of you to enhance your focused energy into what it is that you want done. Now, when it comes to spell work and things like that, spell work has never worked immediately. I've had a great many spells work for me. I've had money spells work for me. I've had, other types of spells work for me that we're not going to get into in this video. But I've had a lot of magical practices that I've done actually work for me. Tarot, I read tarot like religiously, and I'm good at it for the most part. And so I believe that there's energy that we can draw from, and I do believe that the universe responds, but I don't think that what we're working with here, I don't think we're working with gods and goddesses necessarily, but we're working on pushing an idea out and pulling it back, right? That's more like what we're working on, right? Now, whatever pantheon you choose to follow, good on you. Like, I'm not telling you it's not real. I'm not telling you it is real. I don't know. I can't tell you that it is. But I do know that there's a lot of people that in Viking times, when, they had, a bad chemical reaction trip, they almost fucking died, and the brain is shooting off serotonin and dopamine like a motherfucker, that they probably saw Thor or Odin, right? Or they ate a little, like, one too many goddamn mushrooms, and boom, they're like, whoo, there's a crow, and they thought, like, Odin's ass was hanging from it, right? And I'm almost certain that, in more recent times, when it comes to, like, look, you get like an overly emotional woman in, Venezuela that looks at a tortilla and she sees Jesus's face, or Guadalupe. It's like, oh my God, like, por Dios. La Virgen de Guadalupe. Your brain does that for you, right? Because it gives you something that puts you at ease, right? It's the brain's defense mechanism and how it works. I'm not saying that it's not real. I'm just saying that, it can be explained to a particular point, to a point. There are other things that can't be, but, those types of things can be. So this right here, what she's talking about, it just sounds like a really bad acid trip, honestly, right? Like, I mean, I don't know, like, I mean, she's saying meditating. I don't know if meditating included, a couple tabs of acid and a fifth of Jim Beam or Jack Daniels. Maybe. We don't know, right? But 1,800 years in hell? I mean, trying to get them clicks, man. Trying to get them clicks. All right, let's keep going, because we're only 4 fucking minutes into her video, and we're already 26 minutes into mine. Guys, this is disproportionate.
Into the portal, a portal of hell. The only thing that matters is that when I went in there, I knew that I had made instantly probably the #1 worst mistake of my.
There are so many jump cuts on this thing. Like, so many jump cuts. Like, I'm sorry. Like, in my personal opinion, like, if I had some shit like this happen, I'm doing a 1-through, right? Get the full fucking, the roll on it. But she's got this depressed look on her face. Like, she's like, oh, it's like, so as I made the worst mistake of my life, guys. I should have never done this. And I'm telling you, I'm making this video so that way you guys never have to go through what I went through. Look, I can do it too. Am I a YouTuber yet? I can fucking do it. There's no fucking tears. There's no fucking choking up. Just, she knew she looked like shit, so she took the makeup off, and I just got to get really serious with you guys. We gotta talk about this. I made a really big mistake, and boom, hey, look, Hollywood, man. I mean, not exactly a Grammy performance, but good shit.
Entire existence. I know that a lot of people are wondering, why in the world would you jump into that realm? Why didn't Jesus tell you? Some people would say.
And I love how, like, she always has this thing where she kind of says, I know people are wondering. Right? I know people are wondering. No, you don't. You don't know what the fuck. I don't know. I'm not wondering shit. I don't care. You do you. Right? I mean, you want to get teabagged by Satan, that's your business, not mine. It ain't got nothing to do with me. And as far as, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's keep it going. Fucking sick.
That wasn't the real Jesus. It was. I still talk to him regularly.
It was the real Jesus. Not a single fucking person in the history of the world has actually been able to confirm that motherfucker existed during the time period that they say that he existed. But she's got a direct line to him. Somebody call the fucking Vatican, man. She needs to be the right hand of the Pope. What the fuck you guys do to me, man?
In dreams, and we are always healing. I'm always healing from this experience. And I always ask him all the time, why didn't you tell me the truth? And I get angry because I think it could have been prevented. But then he told me, as he tells me repeatedly, with angels and with my guides, that he foresaw me being in hell. And so he was worried that him talking about it would bring more curiosity, and then I would go into hell. So he thought that avoiding it would save me, but it only made my curiosity grow more. A lot of people talk about hell as if they've been there, and there are very few people that in their testimonies are telling the truth. But there's a lot of people in the world.
So here we go with the condescending bullshit, right? There's a lot of people that say that they've been there, but very few are actually telling the truth. But me, you can trust me 100%. I would never lie to you. By the way, like, comment, and subscribe to get more bullshit from me to you. Come on, man. Dude, this woman fucking... This woman bothers me to no end. And I'm not even kidding. She had a thing where she wanted to talk to a Satanist, like an actual Satanist for like her fucking podcast or whatever fuck. And I was like, do it. Talk to me. I'll talk to you. I will fucking tear you apart, but I'll talk to you. I will sit down and I will fucking have a conversation with you. And I let her know, I do not agree with you. I do not agree with the things that you're saying. I think you're fear-mongering. I think you use fear and the fear that you know that so many people have of this shit to have them flock to you. But I'm open to being proven wrong. I will sit down and I will have a conversation with you. Ask me if she fucking answers me. Nope.
World that preach about a place they've never really been to, they've never really seen. And they'll use fear of that place, that you'll be damned there, to keep people in check.
Just like you're using the fear of that place to get clicks on a fucking video. Which is it, right? Because the thing is that the place that you're talking about is real. And you said at the beginning of the video that you can't have one without the other, which means you cannot have heaven without hell and you cannot have hell without heaven. Yeah? Okay. You said that at the very beginning of the video, the opening of the video. So the church using hell to keep people in check, that if their God is real, to save their souls from going to hell is a good thing. But you are here now trying to make it sound nefarious. Which is it, woman? I mean, gotta stop with the contradictions.
From making sinful decisions. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a person of a traditional faith. My faith is love in the universe and in humanity and in celestial beings and other beings in the universe that exist. So
that's not a faith. Those are ideas and concepts of things that you think might exist. That's not a faith. And by all accounts, I'm sorry, but everything that you're spewing and everything that you are saying, you are by all accounts Christian. Like everything that you are spewing, all the fear, all the hate, all of these things, towards people like myself. It's Christian. You are a spiteful and hateful person. Maybe 5% of what you're actually talking about, and you put the pieces together off of a bunch of shit that you think that you studied. You went through the last video that we reacted to. The one thing that I wanted to say that I didn't say the last time, you talked about you're a demonologist and whatever the fuck, and a near death experiencer. experiencer. You know, the fuck does that even mean? You're a near-death experiencer. Like, are you getting so goddamn high every night that you're fucking ODing in your bathroom? And that doesn't count, honey. Sorry. You know, what does that even fucking mean? Or then, like, the astral exorcist or whatever the fuck. Like, you just, like, making shit up as you go along, or pulling shit out of super far fringe fucking groups that most people are going to call you on it and say you're full of shit, but then you can pull up a few like random little fucking documents here and there. Look, it's real. But it's so fucking fringe that people will actually fall for it. You are fucking dangerous, man. Let me tell you, you are fucking dangerous.
Testimony as I go forward. Please keep in mind that what I'm sharing with you has nothing to do with a religious concept, because it has no correlation to that whatsoever. I've been with all kinds of...
It has every correlation with it. It has every single correlation with it. Like, this is... First and foremost, okay. First and foremost, we know that heaven and hell, like we know that we've talked about throughout the centuries, there has been, you know, light and dark, good and evil, right? Since Egypt, right? The Egyptian times, right? You know, Ra and Set, okay? Things like that, okay? Anubis, you know, those types of gods from the Egyptian pantheon. So we know that those have existed since long ago. Now, the Christian Bible, the Christian story, whether Old or New Testament, is almost point for point a ripoff of the Egyptian pantheon. Now, we also know that a lot of the holidays that are celebrated in Catholicism and Christianity were taken from paganism, right? Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, right? Most of these things have been kind of taken from, you know, from paganism. At least the traditions, what's not the story, but what the traditions, the things that are done. Okay, so we already know that the Christian traditions, you know, are bullshit because they're stolen traditions from pantheons that are by far significantly older, right? And we're not talking like, you're not talking about the Gerald Gardner, you know, 1960s Wicca revival. We're talking older than that, right? At least of what we have, you know, left, you know, throughout the histories, you know, and it's written. Most of it was destroyed by Catholic saints, right? Of all people. Look up why St. Patrick's a saint, and you'll understand why it's probably not a good idea to be celebrating St. Patrick's Day. You know, it's like celebrating St. Patrick's Day is like this. Celebrating St. Patrick's Day is kind of like if for some reason Hitler was labeled a saint by the church and you didn't know all the evil shit that he did. And so, you know, you threw on your fucking swastikas and shit like that and drank some German beer, you know, in celebration on, you know, St. Adolf Day, right? It's the same fucking thing, St. Patrick, right? You gotta, you know, I mean, okay, maybe not as bad, right? We're not talking 6 million fucking people, but it's along those lines. Look it up. Do your own research. Don't take my word for it, okay? But anyway, I digress. You know, it is 100% correlated to the religion. The idea of heaven and hell, good and bad, has existed for millennia, right? For eons. And the reason for that is because of how our brains work, how human nature is, okay? You do good, you get benefit. You do bad, you receive negative consequences. Everything has a consequence, whatever you do, good or bad. An action is an action, and that action has a consequence. Sometimes the consequence is positive, sometimes the consequence is negative. And as such, our brains have been hardwired to, understand the reward concept in the brain, right? So the reward concept is brain. You get your math. Little Johnny gets his math problem right. He gets a gold star, right? So we learn that from a very early age, especially in like modern day society. Other societies were the same way. You do good, you get praise. You make dad proud, you get a pat on the head, and good son, right? Whatever. So those ideas are hardwired. But to sit there and say that heaven and hell, or hell in this particular case, is not correlated anything to do with the religion, you are trying to make people believe that you have an inside look on something that you actually do not have an inside look on. Now, you are not the first person in history to make the claims that you are making. And you more than likely will not be the last person in history to make the claims that you are making. But the one thing that everyone before you, after you, and yourself have in common is that every single one of you are full of fucking shit.
The beings, I've met Egyptian gods. I've been in the company of Hindu gods. I've been in the company of Jesus Christ. I've been in the company with many other beings in the course of the universe that do exist. And they all share one of the most important factors, that all share an important message. And that message is part of my testimony today. To be fully honest with you, I don't even know where to begin with this. I don't even know what to tell you of how it went about in there. But I will say that when you go into hell, the time lapse in hell versus the other dimensions is incredibly fast and incredibly slow, all at the same time.
So that is her not knowing mathematically which comment was going to be correct to pull off the 1,800 years in hell. Right? So is it faster or is it slower than here? So something like that would be, it's faster, but you don't perceive it to be faster, right? So like you spend, 1,800 years in hell, but it's only been an hour here, right? So it'd be a lot faster, but you don't perceive it as mathematically. That's correct answer. But now we're dealing with some like Chronicles of Narnia type shit, right? The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, like, the time difference, like, the kids went into Narnia and they grew up and they became kings and queens and shit like that. And then they went back through the wardrobe and boom, they're fucking kids again. It's like, holy shit. Whoa. You get to do it all over again. You got knowledge that only people would fucking kill for. Been alive for 46 years over there. Come back over here, you're 10 years old again. Well, fuck me. You guys, honestly. Like, I'm doing another 15 minutes of this shit, guys, and like I'm calling it. Like, this gives me a migraine.
Time. The moment I entered hell, it was extremely hot. So unbearably hot that it felt as if my skin was melting off. I know that seems weird when you're in a plane, in a different dimension, a different realm, and you don't have a body. Hell is the lowest level of dimensions, and this level of dimension is why it's so real because it's the lowest plane in existence. So everything is extremely physical, even more physical than here. Everything is more painful than here. Hell is a realm that is more dense than even Earth. Hell is the
That's really cool.
lowest level realm you can go to. I don't know a whole lot about how it works. So if you're
It sounds like she's going. She's kind of going the Dante's Inferno or like the seven circles of hell kind of route with this. So like she's kind of taking tidbits of that and shit like that and kind of like shit. So we've got, you know, it's the lowest plane of existence, right? It's the lowest dimension. So I can't remember who said it, but the way that the potential of dimensions work, for those that don't know, is that dimensions, the idea of dimensions, are things that exist in parallel with our existence, right? So another dimension would be another version of you, another version, you know, but, you know, a different. The idea of dimensions comes from the concept that what if you or I or anybody else made different decisions in their life, right? How would that, you know, inadvertently affect the world around you? How big would those changes be? That if you, as you exist now, make this decision, would it not serve to logic to say that maybe there's another version of you that made the opposite decision, that did something with positive consequence or did something with negative consequence? That, you know, the world around you is, you know, you understand it, but you know, there's like you understand like the look of it, the feel of it, but it's all different. Like the whole mirror image, you know, being parallel. So she's not talking about existence, dimensional existence in parallel. She's talking about dimensional existence like a fucking layer cake, which is taking, you know, semi science fiction, you know, ideas and then throwing them together with like Dante's Inferno.
expecting all of those answers, I don't have all the answers about that. What I'm going to share with you is the only information that I know that I have discovered, at least for now. Any other information that I were to receive in the future would be by my guides, not because I went back to hell. Hopefully not. When I was in hell, all I remember.
Hopefully not. It's like those little comments, man. Oh, they fucking irritate me. And you would fucking know, wouldn't you? And then like guides, like I need to have a sit down with Jesus. He's out, sweetie. We need to sit down and have a conversation, man. We need to talk about this shit. Mano a mano. Right? It's like, fuck me, man. God damn. What the fuck? All right, let's get back into this.
The most when I first entered hell was absolute fear. And what people don't understand is that this realm is harnessed in nothing but fear. Fear, anger, anguish, pain, suffering, sadness, loneliness. So much amplification. It's so amplified by a billion zillion emotions. And it's so strong and it's so overwhelmingly powerful. You cannot overcome that. Not even me. Not even Jesus. It's that bad of a realm when I first entered.
She just basically compared herself to Jesus. Like, so powerful. You can't overcome it. Not even me. because I'm special. And you know what? The Son of God himself couldn't overcome it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not. I think it would be worthwhile for Hollywood to explore that idea, because that is a movie that I would, like to see, like a Batman versus Superman, but Jesus versus Satan. But get them to beat the shit out of each other. That would be fun.
Was sweating profusely immediately when I got there. It was so overwhelmingly hot. There was flame.
Okay, so you're not in your physical body, but because it's the lowest dimension of existence, apparently it's very physical. So it gives you another body. Apparently, it's overwhelmingly hot. I don't have a body, but I'm sweating. Guys, I'm going to be honest, guys. If you guys don't see what is wrong with the shit that she's saying, I can't help you. I can't help you. Everything is contradictory. Everything contradicts everything else.
Flames, there was fire, there was gravel and dust and grime, like you couldn't breathe in there. It was so overwhelming. Even though when you go to these planes and in consciousness, whether dead or alive, and you're traveling there, we have what's called the astral body that's separate from this body. Our soul is a part of the astral body, and so when we astral travel, we can go to different planes all the time. So that's how I got there, was my astral body went there. All of a sudden, I just want to shut down. I don't want to talk about it at all. There's a part of me where I'm already regretting making this video, because I don't even know where to begin with what happened to me. The thing about hell...
How many times are you going to say, I don't even know where to begin? Well, fuck, I mean, it was so goddamn bad. Just fucking start somewhere. Did you meet Satan? Right? Did you have a pineapple shoved up your ass? For those of you that are too young, there's a little Nicky reference. Adam Sandler movie. Really funny movie. Worth your while to watch it. Trust me. Do it. Everything that she's talking about is the description of hell that the Catholic Church will give to you. Everything, her entire ideal surrounding demons and angels and things like that. So first and foremost, everything that she's saying is that she says, that she talks about, is 100% Christian, especially when she gets in talking about Jesus, when she starts talking about the angels and shit like that. Now, Jesus is the proverbial Son of God. Okay. So Jesus being the Son of God means probably not going to be a guide. And this is taking into account, this is playing devil's advocate, that everything she's saying, is accurate to a fault, right? Now, if Jesus is the Son of God, and that's why Jesus existed, hence the Bible, that means that God is real, which means that the devil is real, which also means that everything else that she said about Hindu and Buddha and all of this shit, in the Bible itself, it says, "Thou shalt not worship any other graven image other than thy Lord God, for thy Lord God is a jealous God." It says it right in the fucking Bible. You can't have it both ways. You can't. Jesus is a Christian invention. You cannot have the Son of God, the Christ, the Anointed One, as a guide and not be a fucking Christian. or not believe in God or not believe in the Holy Bible. It does. You can't strip those from each other because one does not exist without the other. That's how those religions are built. Monotheism is built in that way. You cannot have one without the other. You cannot strip the belief of God away from the church. The church invented God. That's why you can't strip it away. You can't pull that away from it, right? Or at least the Christian God, and especially if you're talking about Jesus Christ. By the way, Christ wasn't his actual last name. Christ was a title. It just means the anointed one. Nobody knows what the fuck his last name was. It was Jesus Christ or Jesus of Nazareth, but they just, no last name. It was just Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Nobody had a last name in that book. Nobody gave a shit, right? Nobody fucking cared, but everybody had a beard. I'm halfway there. So you can't, I personally feel that you cannot separate the two, right? Unless you do it the way the Satanists do, especially if you're talking about like the LaVeyan Satanist, right? Now you can have, for example, a Christian philosophy, but not believe in the Christian God, right? You can say, I believe the 10 Commandments are a good thing, and philosophically, I follow those in my life, and I'm a good person to a fault because of the 10 Commandments, but I just don't believe in God. That makes sense. That you can do. You can take an idea from it and use the idea and apply the idea. But you can't separate the elements of the religion and then create your own shit around it, right? So there's so many different religions in the world, and it's because so many different people from so many different cultures are trying to explain the same shit, which is why you see so many parallels in these religions throughout like history, right? These parallels are drawn because we as a race, as humans throughout history, we've all been trying to explain the same shit. The weather, the, volcanoes and the chaos in nature and all of this stuff. We all wanted to explain the same thing. So down the line, whether polytheistic or monotheistic, we're all trying to explain the same thing. And then in order, man being the creature of habit that we are, wanted control. So we created religion. We created rules. We created regulations. We created a punishment. Catholicism started as politics. It was like the Republican Party or the Democrat Party when it started, which is why they have a pope. It's the only religion in the world that has like that type of hierarchical, structure. And that's because of its political background. The religion was added to it to almost guarantee control of people. If you're constantly worried about eternal damnation and the shit that she's talking about, then of course you're going to follow along, right? What she's trying to do is she's trying to remove the politics from it and the root of the creation of it, and trying to produce a movie, maybe? I don't know. It's definitely clickbait. It's definitely clickbait. It's, it's set up to get you to click on it, to get you to watch it. We're only 11 minutes in, chat. I have done a 1-hour video off of 11 minutes of her shit. Oh no, let's get a couple more minutes and let's see.
Is that the time lapse there is so complicated. Everything that they did to me in this realm was so painfully slow, unbelievably slow. So slow that it felt like hours and hours and hours of torture. But then they would show you a clock and barely a second went by, and they would continue. There were demons that smelled us out, smelled anyone else who was there, And I tried to hide from them, and I tried to protect myself in golden white light. I tried to shield any way they could detect me, but it was impossible. The energy there is so bad. The worst energy plane I've ever been to. When they found me, there were a lot of demons, and they were dragging me, and they tried to.
When they found me, there were a lot of demons. Well, you're in hell, so duh. What do you think's gonna be there? Fluffy little bunnies?
Figure out what they were going to do to me, because they knew that I had jumped in. They heard about it. When a person.
But they wanted to stick a pineapple up your ass. If you would have let them put the pineapple up there, everything would have been fine. And they would have let you go. One pineapple. That's all you needed. And you said no. I'm just bullshitting at this point, chat.
Anyone that is not authorized to jump into those portals, they get a notification immediately. It's almost like a.
Now they got cell phones. Anybody jumps in that portal that is not authorized, like, authorized personnel only. There's a big sign right above it. Neon lights. Probably some type of Gothic font, like says authorized personnel only. And she's like, fuck it. Woo-hoo, let's go. And then, everybody's fucking phone started going off. Beep, 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 beep. Hey, guys. Yo, John, it's your time. It's your turn to go check fucking portal of the ass back over there. Somebody just jumped through it. Come on. Your turn, man. I don't want to get up, man. I've been sitting here for 10,000 years. Let's go. It's your turn. Jesus.
Sensor and energy frequency throughout their realm. It's very, very sensitive. And so.
Oh, exactly. It's kind of like a spider web. All right. So when you jump in, like there's wires, and it's like goes through, and they're like, ooh. Gotcha.
They knew that my energy was not like theirs, so they detected it and immediately went to that realm, to that area where I was. And they could sniff my fear. They could smell, they could taste my fear. They literally would sit there and say these things, because I was hiding behind rock and rubble, praying that they weren't going to find me, but I knew they would. And when they did, I tried to fight them off, and in some cases I was able to, because I've learned a few things from my guides on how to protect yourself in these situations. But unfortunately, when you are surrounded by so many demons that are incredibly.
Jesus taught her some Krav Maga. That's what happened. That's what happened, guys. Her Jesus guy taught her some Krav Maga. It's like, all right, so when they grab you, you want to go right for the throat. Right like that, and just look the other way. That's what you want to do. That doesn't work. They got really, really big balls. Just fucking bite one. Rip that shit open. Oh my God.
Powerful. You are no match for them. They immediately could seep into my frequency of fear, and they took advantage of that. And they began to.
My frequency of fear. I'm not even gonna touch that one.
Do all kinds of horrible things. They would manifest an illusion of my daughter, and then they would start torturing her, and they would do horrible things. I don't want to say the details of that because it has to do with my daughter. Was she hurt for real? Like, was she actually there? No. But they liked that torture in my mind because it made me even more upset. And then at some point, that's when they began to gang rape me.
How fucked up do you have to be to bring your kid into your clickbait? Like, seriously, like, how fucked up do you have to be to do that? Like, and then apparently you know, demons got needs too, right? You know, because apparently they went in on gang raping her, right? So I mean, bringing the Me Too movement to a spiritual level, man. Like, I stand with her, right? I'm gonna get a lot of shit for that, aren't I?
When you're raped by demons in that situation, it's one of those things that I tell myself it never happened because I don't want to go back.
That's a good thing that you tell yourself it never happened because it never actually did fucking happen. Lay off the fucking drugs. Drugs. I want drugs. Drugs. I want drugs. More drugs.
Back to that negative place that I was there. But the more I continue, I'm nervous that you're going to see a lot more that I don't want you to see. When you're getting raped by demons, when you're raped by demons, even by one demon, it's extremely painful. The pain is so excruciating that it feels like the insides of your body are being ripped apart. It feels as if you're losing your organs. And they do that in a way to make you feel disempowered. It makes you feel vulnerable. And they like it when you have pain. They like it when
it's hell. And the traditional idea of what hell is. And a demon's job in hell is to torture souls that go to hell, which would imply that, yeah, the entire purpose and existence of the story of hell is eternal damnation, torture, gnashing of teeth. I really want to see if she gets into that. I want to see if she jumps into the gnashing of teeth. Like, my teeth were blown out because his dick went so far up. It's like, gnashing of teeth.
when you're screaming in agony, they get a rise in that. And then they can alter your mind and make you believe that you like it when you don't. And when they do that,
But if they make you believe that you like it, then it's not torture anymore. Because even if they make you believe that you like it, and you believe that you like it, that means that you like it, which means it no longer constitutes torture. An extreme form of BDSM, maybe, but torture, no. Was it like, you know, 50 Shades of Grey times 50,000? Maybe.
they'll start making it even worse. When demons rape a person, they drain your energy, and that's what they were doing with me. They were immediately taking my energy and sucking my energy out as they were raping me. But it wasn't just gang rape of 3 or 4, it was like many. And they would take turns. So there was a long line. And sometimes they wouldn't wait, and they would end up continuing. And there's parts of it where I remember vividly, and then there's parts that I blacked out.
I'm just imagining like a South Park style cartoon with the big Satan guy in a long line and a neon sign that says, "Get off here." Am I going to go to hell, guys? Am I a horrible person?
Because it was so painful. There was a part where I do recall I was taken to this demon king, King Payman, because he and I had a past in other demon haunting situations and other situations that I had made in the past, mistakes that I had made in the past, and they thought that this was funny, so they brought me to this demon king. And when I was in his presence, he took me to this room, and I was in this one particular room probably the most. It was a torture room Now, granted, every room was a torture room. Every space that you're in hell is a torturous space, because that's the only thing they focus on. But when I got there, they broke me down. That was their goal. That was Payman's goal. And because he's in charge of many, many legions, he would tell them what to do to me. Was when they began to torture me, and he just threw me into this space, and I was already so drained of energy. I don't want to say these details, but I know I need to, because the truth of the matter is, if I don't put in these details, you're not getting the full-fledged reality of what this realm is like. When I was in this room, I was already badly beaten, mangled, and covered in semen. I was completely drenched, and they thought that was funny. So they began to so-called clean me up. And what they would do is they would start with my hair. This one particular demon, he was short and he looked like this big fat goblin kind of being. Big nose, really ugly face, broken fingers in some case, kind of very dark skinned, but kind of reddish toned a little bit, but more dark skinned. This entity almost looked burned. This demon almost looked like he had been burned and battered. He had this horrible, disgusting voice. This voice I don't think I will ever forget. The sarcasm, the apathy, their eyes, the teeth, the skin, the smell. It was unbelievable. I just remember then this demon had a few other demons, and they strapped me to this table, this metal table, and it wasn't clean. Nothing in this realm was clean. Everything was dirty.
I can't do anymore, guys. I mean, this is, oh my God. This is literally just taking anything and everything that you can think of when it comes to demons and hell and shit like that, and throwing it all together in one video, into one story, into one idea, into one concept. It's just pathetic. It really is. Thank you for mentioning it to me, guys. You know, I hope they enjoyed the content. I just can't get through an hour of this shit. There will be a part 2 on the other one eventually. I just need to get to the point where I can actually watch it again. Thank you all for hanging out. Greatly appreciate it. And if you liked it, you know, like, comment, subscribe, all that horse shit that you normally do on a YouTube video. Peace the fuck out, guys.